Welcome friends, welcome back to the kitchen, welcome back to Sunday morning in the old cookbook show. Today we're going to do a recipe out of this old cookbook. This was sent in by a viewer. Thank you so very much for this book. Published in 1950 by the IOOF and Rebekahs home, Barrie, Ontario. Independent order of Oddfellows and the Rebekahs. So the Oddfellows was the male part of the organization and the Rebekahs was the female part of the organization. I believe they still exist today, but that line distinction isn't as drawn. No religious affiliation, but it's a benefactor type of organization. They try to do good works in the community, is my understanding. Don't really know a whole lot about them. This was published in 1950 in Barrie. It is a community cookbook. All of the recipes in here are given by somebody in the community that is part of this organization. Every recipe has a name under it. This cookbook has completely fallen apart. The cover is gone and it has been replaced with just a plain piece of cardboard. It's taped together. The binding has gone and it's now been rebound by someone in the past with just some butcher twine. It is very dirty in spots, so I can tell which recipes were used most often or which parts of the book were used most often. Almost every recipe has a check mark. And I take the check mark to mean that it was made because besides some of the check marks, it says good and some say no good. There are notes about changes that the cook has made. There are notes about, this would be great for a party. And I chose a couple of the dirtiest pages with a recipe that has a check mark, and it just says beside it, bake in a cake pan. We're going to make something called easy cookies. But of course, we're not baking them as cookies. We're baking them in a 9x9 cake tin. Into the stand mixer, brown sugar, use any brown sugar that you like. For some reason, I had light brown sugar in the kitchen this morning. I usually have a very dark brown sugar. And in go the 2 eggs. And we'll beat that together. And over here I have the dry ingredients. We've got flour, baking powder, and salt. And just give that a bit of a whisk together. Now, there's no fat in this recipe. And when I say there's no fat, anytime I say there's no fat, people always come back and say there's fat in the egg yolks. Yes, there's fat in the egg yolks. What I mean by saying there's no fat, I'm not adding butter, I'm not adding lard, I'm not adding vegetable shortening, there's no vegetable oil, any of those sort of added fats, which I find very interesting for this. I'm expecting a fairly dense bar, something to snack on, and maybe taking the plane with me. Okay, so in goes our dry mixture. We're supposed to put in some vanilla. I also chose this recipe because it allows me to use up that last little bit of several different things that are in the cupboard. So that light brown sugar, I don't know where it came from, but there was a cup of it left. Cup of brown sugar, in it went. Calls for chopped nuts. So I had a little part bag of chopped up almonds and a little part bag of chopped up pecans. Came out to just a little over a cup. I'm going to throw it all in just to get rid of it. So we mix that in. And it's not going to take much to mix that. We're done. Okay. Okay, so I've got a 9x9 buttered with a parchment sling in it. And we'll get this batter in very loose. That's going to be a very thin layer in the bottom of this tin. The oven is preheated to 350 degrees. That is a very thin layer. It's going to take about 25 minutes, it says, to cook this. So it's going to be pretty good. I will see you in a little bit.
Glen.
Hey, Jules.
Hey, friends. It smells very yeasty, but I don't think it's that because they don't. Although they look like they have lots of. Oh, is there fruit in that?
They're Bath buns.
Bath buns.
We had
Bath?
we had a little wobble making them, and so I'm gonna leave the dough out overnight and see what happens.
Okay.
You'll find out in a couple of weeks from now.
Wobbles happen. You'd be amazed at what you can do to bring wobbles back to,
I think I can bring it back. But I give you easy cookies.
Was this always held together by cord?
No.
Okay.
Someone has loved that so much and used it
Really?
within an inch of its life and
Love it.
fixed it. It is interesting though because it is the
Independent Order of Foresters? No.
No, that's the same letters.
Okay.
But this is the Independent Order of Oddfellows. Oh
yes.
And this is the home in Barrie.
Oh.
But all of the
There's still a home in Barrie called Rebekah.
Is there?
I think
so it's probably that home then. So, but all of the advertising inside is from Trenton, which is nowhere near Barrie. If you know Southern Ontario, all of it is Trenton. So I don't really understand. I mean, it was also printed in Trenton, so they probably just bought an existing book.
Pretty pleasant. Actually, they're no. I mean, in that they're not. They're just a lovely cookie.
It's not a cookie,
No, it's more like a cake.
but it's not really a cake. It's not really a bar. It sort of fits in the middle of nowhere, doesn't it?
It's soft.
It's got a good
chewy.
flavor. It is
It
chewy.
tastes good.
The nuts
So
are nice.
what does it matter if it's undefinable beyond goes well with tea? Really, that's really the category. That's the category we're looking for, right? Does it go well with tea? Box checked.
So based on her, I'm assuming it was a woman, based on her marking points, it's got a check mark. So she made it. But it neither says good nor bad. So
Although it does say cook in a bake in a cake pan.
So, donuts, check mark, she made them, good. Crispy chews, check mark, fancy.
Ooh.
And this one, nut dainties, fancy for party. So I love the notations in it.
I love, yes, because there are some that are like, not good.
Yes. Yes.
Some of the ones that I have from my grandma, not good.
In this
Like, don't do that. No, see, no, we're not making that one.
muffins, so there's a check mark, she made it, but no good. Don't make that. So I love that book. That book has
Character?
it has character.
It has the love of someone using it.
Yes. From a cookbook collector's standpoint, people would pass that by as garbage because it doesn't have all of the things that you need to have.
The cover.
It's got the cover and books are graded based on how the edges of the pages are handled and whether there's stains. It has all of the things in it that a book collector would look at and go, I don't want that. I want that book.
Because it's got all the extra information you're looking for.
It's got all of the human part to a well-loved and well-used cookbook. That's more important to me than a perfect cover.
If a book automatically opens to, a recipe book automatically opens to a certain page, like 321 in one of our books.
Yes, you know that's a good page. It's got a good recipe on it. Anyway, I think these are worth a go. You could chocolate chips would go well in that with what's going on there.
You could probably put some peel in it, like a little orange or something.
Yep. You could definitely change up your nuts. I just used 2 mostly empty packages of nuts to get the right amount, and I came up with what I needed.
You could add a little spice, like you'd add a little cardamom, or you could not cardamom. I was
Put a little nutmeg or things like that. A little bit of cinnamon. Cinnamon would go really well on that one.
I've done a cinnamon kick lately.
Okay. Thanks for stopping by. See you again soon, and come on back in a week or two and see how the Bath bun debacle.
I don't know. It's looking. We'll see.